big thank you to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight program. Good morning, Rim Country. Chris Higgins in the studio. Happy Monday to everyone out there listening and watching our KRIM radio live stream. Well, we're going to be talking about the Payson Book Festival this morning, and this is the 9th annual Payson Book Festival taking place July 13th at the Mazatzal Hotel Casino. Doors open at 9 a.m. and it goes until 2:30 p.m. and there is something for everyone at the Payson Book Festival. This morning we have a couple authors, one in the studio and one on the telephone. In the studio this morning is Haley Rose. Good morning, Haley.
Hi, good morning.
And on the phone is Katrina Shaver. Good morning, Katrina.
Hey. Hey, good morning. Glad to be here.
Well, thank you both for joining us. Thank you, Haley, for taking the beautiful drive up the hill to Payson to come into the studio this morning. And again, we're going to be talking to both of these authors. They are going to be at the Payson Book Festival. And something that is just wonderful, one of the many things that's wonderful about our Payson Book Festival is the ability to talk to all the authors. There's over 80 authors, all Arizona authors at the Payson Book Festival. And you get an opportunity to talk to them about their books, about being an author, or whatever else their interests are. And it's pretty cool because there's such a diverse background of the authors and things that they have done, things they're doing, just so many interesting people and great stories. So just a wonderful opportunity to get to know these authors a little bit better, and that's what we're going to do this morning. So Haley, thank you again for coming in, and tell us a little bit about yourself and the books that you write.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris, for asking. I am a former entertainment business manager, so I always loved anything creative, entertainment-wise. I fell into writing by accident, so I write picture books for kids, YA, self-help with gratitude journals, things like that, and then I'm in an anthology to help other writers with tips and my origin story, along with 14 other authors from an Always group down in Phoenix. So I kind of do a little bit of everything. I've got you from baby to 99.
Wow. And now, when did you start writing your books? When did you begin this journey?
So I always loved writing. I was actually in a band in the 90s.
Oh, really?
So it's a little alternative all-girl group in the 90s in LA. And I always loved writing, the writing aspect. So when we broke up, I was actually on a family reunion trip, and my flight back was a little bit turbulent, so I thought, I'm gonna write a couple of stories for the little kids that I just met at the reunion. And I met a publisher by accident in Phoenix, and that kind of started my journey with writing kids' books and everything, and I loved it. And then I got into fantasy with a really good friend from high school, so we co-wrote a fantasy novel that just came out in February. And then I got into self-help and journaling and things like that after my parents passed away. So I kind of dabble in a little bit of everything. But it's been about 20 years.
Wow. So in LA, all-girl alternative band. What comes to mind, missing persons, walking in LA.
Walking in LA. They weren't all girl, but yeah, Dale Bosio, right?
Walking in LA. And the female lead singer, right?
Right, Dale Bosio, yeah.
Dale Bosio, gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
She was on an 80s tour with some friends of mine. I have some friends in some 80s bands, and
Yeah.
so she was one of the bands that was playing in the Lost 80s Live is what they were called. So I saw her a few years ago. She's very entertaining, very talented.
So that's it's funny, and that's what I love. And again, I mentioned this already, but getting to know all of the authors, and because there's, oh my goodness, such diverse backgrounds.
Yes.
And people that have done so many different things, because I think obviously to be an author there has to be that creativity, and you're drawing inspiration usually from life events.
Right, absolutely.
Things that you've done.
Absolutely.
So that is It's great. Katrina, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and the books that you write?
Well, I have one book, and it's called Henry, a Polish Swimmer's True Story of Friendship from Auschwitz to America. And it's a story of a man I met while I was writing for the Arizona Republic. And I wrote columns about interesting people, and I got a phone tip. And we met, and I just knew he was the real deal. He had survived Auschwitz as a Polish political prisoner, so he was not Jewish. And that piqued my interest, and it kind of just went from there. So my book is adult nonfiction and World War II. But he also made me promise not to write just about the war. So it kind of starts in his youth to understand who he is, and it does end as actually a happily ever after. So, spoiler alert, he did survive the war. Otherwise, I wouldn't have met him.
Yeah, yeah, it would have been hard to have that relationship.
He was arrested in 1942 as a Pole and spent nearly 3 years in the German concentration camps. And what makes this book unique is it tells a different side of the Polish experience during World War II. 6 million people in Poland lost their lives, 3 million Jewish and 3 million Christian. And this book became something that I wanted to highlight, this lesser-known piece of history that really Henry's story represented. And it's been very well received. I'm very honored. It's been translated into Polish and Czech, so is available in Europe. And I do get emails from people in Poland and the Czech Republic, so it's quite cool.
Wow. And this is, again, what's great are the books that we're talking about today, the books that you both have written. So your book is, wow, I mean, this just sounds like an amazing story that you're sharing of this man's life and the people that, you know, are part of his life, but just an incredible story of determination, persistence, survival, just all of it. And then the children's books and some of the books that you have written, Haley, which, like the popular book, most popular book, which you said, hey, can I share this? I'm like, heck yeah. And it's,
so it's Gomer the Gassy Goat. It's actually a language skills early reader book.
Yeah.
I've sold, I mean, right out the bat, it was released 3 years ago. It sold 16,000 copies right off the bat. I'm up to 50,000 copies now. It's in a lot of summer reading programs for schools to inspire a love of reading through humor and stuff like that. So it's been my most popular. It's a series now. I never would have thought, but I've got Stella the stinky cat. And the difference is she toots because she's a lady, and he farts because he's not.
No, and this is what, it's great, the diversity and just all different types of books. It reminds me a lot, and I'm thinking of music. You know, you brought up music and you're in a band, but just all the different types of music that are out there. It's the same with books.
Right.
All the different books, you know, for all ages, but, you know, that do, I guess, different things. Like you said, you said it's for, to help with reading or to help
To inspire a love of reading through humor, plus it's a tongue twister kind of book. It's a build upon tongue twister. So just like music, it's not only different genres, but it's different styles of writing music. You know, you've got folk music where you're more telling the story, and then you've got more pop music where it's usually about the chorus and the melody. Where writing picture books, I've got one in rhyme, I have one that does a tongue twister. There are books that are not told in rhyme, there's books told in first person, there's books told in third person. So there's a lot of different kind of writing styles within like just the children's genre or just the fantasy genre and things like that.
And it has on the, and if you want to find out more also about all of the authors, about the Payson Book Festival, their website is paysonbookfestival.org, and you can read about the authors, go to their websites. Your website is haleyrose.com, and you're also on Facebook. But one of the things I thought very interesting. You've been interviewed on the Author Learning Center, and with Stan Lee, R.L. Stein.
Okay, so that's a really interesting story that ties in with the Payson Book Festival. So I've been doing the Payson Book Festival for about 8-9 years, like since the beginning when it was over at the college. And there was one year I couldn't make it, and I had to back out last minute because my mother had passed away. And so I called Connie, who runs it, and I'm like, hey, I have to drop out. Is that okay? And she's like, yeah, we'll still keep you up on the website. So I was up on the website, and the Author Learning Center found the Payson Book Festival webpage, saw me on there in my bio, and contacted me and asked if they could come and interview me on publishing and marketing. So they came out, and we did the interview in LA, and I recommended another person that runs a group that both Katrina and I are in. Her name's Patricia Books, and it's the Scottsdale Society of Women's Writers. She writes memoir, and they came and interviewed her as well. And it all is on a website to help other authors become authors and navigate the highway that is publishing and writing. And they also did R.L. Stein. They came and interviewed him. They interviewed the late Stan Lee. So they interviewed a lot of people within the industry. So but it came about because I was on the Payson Book Festival website.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it kind of ties in. It's one of my favorite festivals. I try to never miss it.
Wow. And so how many, you said from the beginning, when it was over at the
When it was over
college.
at the college, yeah.
Wow, we were out there, and that's when we still had our ice cream and coffee shop, Scoops, so we were selling ice cream out there.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
I would be all about that.
Yeah, well, I see, chocolate lover, that's kind of like right in the beginning
Right
there.
Absolutely.
And this is great. So Katrina, you and Haley have known each other for a while then, haven't you?
I would say at least 6 or 7 years, because I met Haley, before my book came out in 2017, and Haley is one of the best encouragers out there. So I was kind of thrilled to be able to join with her as far as that goes. So yes. Yes.
And that's something that I've seen that is pretty common among the authors, at least that I've interviewed that are at the Payson Book Festival, and probably other authors, but working together, being part of different writing groups and different groups that encourage each other, help each other, with tips and tricks, and just to help put their books out, and connections, the networking. So that is something that is pretty common, isn't it, Katrina?
Well, it is. And it's interesting because I actually got started because, unlike other writers, I'm an extrovert. I like talking to people. I like talking to groups. And so I only have one book. It took me a long time to do it. But I think because I'm an extrovert, I also like meeting new people and going to other groups as well. So yeah, it's a great writer community, and it's good to see so many writers come together at the Payson Book Festival. It's a wonderful little gem out there. I wish even more people knew about when they come up there.
I know they're trying real hard to get the word out, and obviously I'm trying to help them, and because it's a great festival, not only for locals to come out and meet the authors, just enjoy the festival, but especially with the time of year in July, oh my goodness, just get out of the heat, get out of the craziness. I just saw where, this June is the hottest June in recorded history in Phoenix. So 97 degrees average temperature.
It's toasty, yeah, we're in the 110, 115 right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll drive up to Payson for the day.
Twist my arm, right? Twist my
Right.
arm. So yeah, to be able to come up from the Valley or Phoenix, wherever you are down there, escape the heat, come up for the day, spend the night, spend the weekend. It's just, a great experience. And there's so many other things to do while you're up here.
And it's an easy drive.
Oh, it is.
It's a really easy drive. It's like an hour and 15 minutes from Phoenix. And yeah, I love going to the little antique malls. There's a great coffee shop over here. I forget the name, but I always stop when I go to the Payson Book Festival. It's like in a little shack. So I stop and grab a coffee.
There's Common Grounds now.
That
but yeah, Common Grounds, a nice little coffee shop.
That's where it is.
Common
Yeah,
Grounds.
that's where it is.
But now there's another one too. Common Grounds is awesome, a great little coffee shop. But we have a new coffee shop and bookstore. Noli's.
I'm stopping there after this interview.
There
I've
we
been
go.
watching them. I've been watching their progress as they were building out and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stop in there and check it out, have something to eat, have a coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
check out the books.
Yeah, they have food in there, coffee, drinks, produce, fresh local produce, all the books, and it's an art gallery as
Yeah,
well.
it's been fun watching their journey from their
Mhm.
build out and all that. So I followed them on social media, and I think I heard about them from the Payson Book Festival as well, and from Connie and her page.
Wow. So again, if you're just tuning in or just started watching our live stream on our KRIM Radio Facebook page, talking to authors Haley Rose and Katrina Shaver, and talking about their books and just learning more about them. Both of them obviously will be at the Payson Book Festival. It's the 9th annual Payson Book Festival, and that's Saturday, July 13th at the Mazatzal Hotel Casino in their ballroom, and that's from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And entrance is through the casino, so you can go right into the book festival. You enter right into the ballroom, and there is a kid zone there as well. That, oh my goodness, kids love this. It's an area dedicated to children where they can be read stories, they can create their own book cover, write their own story, create their own poem, and there's volunteers there that assist the children in doing this. So it's not just like, they're put in a room or put in an area and say, okay, here you go, have at it. But there are volunteers helping them with this, and then there's puppet shows as well. With special guest Miss Susie. So there's a couple of puppet shows going on, and just a wonderful event for all ages. And do you find now, because you've been at so many of these Payson Book Festivals, the kids, do you see a decent amount of kids at the show?
You see a lot of families coming through. So yeah, a lot of families and a lot of repeat families. So people will come by year after year. Do you have anything new? What's going on? I see the crowds getting bigger and bigger every year, which is nice. I would say at least 50-60% of the authors, when they have new books, they're there. So it's almost like a big reunion too. I mean, there's a lot of people you get to see that you don't see often within the author community, and as far as the families coming in, you get to watch the kids get older every year and get into different books and stuff like that. So it's really a nice event. It really is.
And that's cool. So there are people that are repeat.
Yes, a lot of repeat.
Yeah, and so they remember you, remember your books, and
yeah, they'll come up.
cool.
What do you have new? What are you doing now? Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Now, Katrina, and I don't think I asked you, but you haven't been at the Payson Book Festival before, have you?
No, actually, yes. I was there last year for the first time.
Oh,
So I'm a
okay.
repeat customer.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience. And one thing that's really nice is it does have all kinds of genres, from kids to adults. So if you have grandparents bringing their kids, we have something for the grandparents, the adults, and then obviously there is a kids zone as well. So it's nice to have that variety. So yes.
It is, and so now, Katrina, you said you were an extrovert. You are an extrovert.
I'm an
as well.
extrovert,
Yeah.
yes.
It's interesting because so far, it's been a pretty solid mix, it seems like, with the authors that have interviewed, introverts, and then obviously some extroverts that love these shows as well. They love being around people and talking to people about their book or the books, and just sharing with people. So
Yeah, I think in general, I think there's more introverts in the writing community than extroverts, but you see a lot more extroverts because we're the ones out doing those events, right?
Yeah.
And meeting people and things like that, so it seems like there's a lot.
Yeah, in fact, I got to put in a plug. I am teaching a class for the U of A Lifelong Learning Program. And they've extended that to a couple of universities. I have spoken and taught classes at Mesa Community College, and I'm trying to get out there and do as much speaking as possible, just to kind of spread the word. So, yeah, it is fun getting out and meeting people in any kind of venue. And I love doing book clubs as well, whether it's by Zoom or in person. So, yeah, it's a great community out there.
Wow. Yeah, it was interesting because thinking back to the last interview I did, and Deborah Barber was one of the authors. It'll be her first book festival because she just finished her first book.
Oh,
but she had been attending the book festival since it began, and so she very much an introvert. And then the other author was Jason Bradford, and he said he loves the big book shows. He has an animatronic, like alien or something, that he brings that smoke comes out of it.
Wow.
And lights. And, you know, he's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to, you know, come up. And so it was funny how, you know, he expressed how, you know, he feeds off the energy. And Deborah, she was sitting here and she thought, yeah, we'll see how it goes, talking to all the people. And but I know she was excited to share her book. And that's really what it comes down to, I think, for all of the authors is you have something that you created, that you made, you wrote, and now you're putting it out there for people to experience and for them to enjoy.
It's almost like an instant grab kind of situation. So when you're at an event and you're talking to people and they get excited about you talking about your book, what your story's about, and then they buy it, and you're like, you know, I can't wait for their reaction, and then you either see a review or they come back the next year saying, we loved it so much, what's the next one in the series? And then they get that, and it just makes you realize that what you're doing is getting out there and making a difference. People are enjoying it, they like the entertainment value, or they're learning something new. Like with Katrina, you're learning something new about an event in history that you didn't know there was that aspect or that side to it. So it's an instant grab to see how you're resonating with the public. And so that's what I really love. And again, I'm an extrovert, so I feed a little bit off that. I really like that. I think for introverts, the marketing part, 'cause that's the marketing part.
Oh yeah.
The marketing part is a little bit harder because you're vulnerable when you set yourself out there into the public. So I think it's the longer you do it, the more you do it. I think the easier it becomes, the more natural it becomes for you.
Gotcha. And now Katrina, because with your book, it's about a gentleman, Henry, swimmer, a Polish swimmer. So it's a little, I guess it's a little different for you, but in your experience, you've probably met so many people that have, maybe they share with you stories that they've experienced, or family?
Yes, I would say, and I'm very well connected into the Polish American Congress of Arizona. They've been very supportive. In fact, they gave me their 2018 Heritage Award for getting it right and talking about Poland. And the journey to finishing this book was, gee, it's so much work. I did a ton of research, but all the right people kept coming into my path at the right time. And that just reassured me that I was on the right path. And every story fills in more pixels in my image of history. So I love meeting people. Everyone has a story. That's what I love about nonfiction is I can't make these stories up. Real life is just so fascinating to me that I'm more of a nonfiction girl because I keep learning, and that fascinates me. So, in fact, my tagline is basically history geek, looking for stories, and history geek, author, speaker, and relentlessly curious. So that's a good summary.
Yeah, and that's, I was just going to mention that on your website, KatrinaSchaver.com has author, history geek, speaker, relentlessly curious. And again, I love the diversity because Haley starting out in a LA all-girl alternative band, and then you're a history geek, but yet you've known each other for 6-7 years, worked together, and have a relationship, and that's really cool.
That's what the writing community will do for you. Authors are very supportive of each other. It doesn't even matter the genre, really. It's I mean, the writers group that we're in, that's the first thing I joined when I moved out to Arizona in 2012 was this writers group. I've been there for, 12 years now. And most of the girls that are in there have been there for a decade at least.
Wow.
So it's been great, and everyone's super supportive. Everyone goes to everyone else's book launch. Everyone's got everyone's book. So it's just a really super supportive community.
Katrina, something I have to ask. After you finished your book, and when did you finish this book?
I finished it in 2016, and I had met Henry in 2002. So this was a long journey for me, kind of a stop and start. But when you do nonfiction, that's such a high burden of verifying facts and research and making sure I get it right. So it's probably one of the hardest ways I can do nonfiction, true story of a man I didn't know. And so it took me quite a while to get it done, translate a ton of documents from Polish to German. I found a lot of documents, so it was a much longer journey for me. But I learned a whole lot along the way as well.
Have you found since completing the book that you've met people or stumbled upon more information regarding Henry, his life, and anybody or people that are connected to Henry that you thought, wow, I could put this in the book as well, or this would be great, to get this out?
It's interesting. Henry retired to Arizona in 1985. He had had a very interesting life. And he was very active in Senior Olympics. He was an athlete his whole life. So once I put it out here in local Phoenix, people remembered him and gave me more feedback about him. And I found a memoir that referenced him. So yes, it just kind of kept going and going, and I've had people from other countries too that thank me for writing about the story of the Christians who also suffered during World War II, because Hitler and Stalin were against many people regardless of their religion. So it's a more complete story. And that's not to undo, the Holocaust, but it's also there to explain the broader story of how much Poland suffered. So, yes, I continue to meet people.
Wow. That's really cool. Well, again, I encourage everyone listening and watching to come out to the 9th Annual Payson Book Festival on July 13th, that's Saturday, July 13th at the Mazatzal Hotel Casino. You'll be able to meet and talk with both Haley and Katrina and learn more about them, their books. But again, just a great event, and it's really cool that in this little town we get so many authors to come in from all over the state that are so accomplished in their writing or what they've done throughout their life. It's really amazing.
There's a great author community in Arizona, and part of it's probably because we're a big retirement state, we're a snowbird state, so there are a lot of really fantastic authors here. New York Times bestsellers to everything. Yeah,
wow. So, and again, to learn more about both Haley and Katrina, you can go to PaysonBookFestival.org. There's a tab, Meet the Authors 2024. Also, Haley and Katrina, they both have their own website that you can go to again, learn more about them, their books, to buy books, online, and just to learn more. So, again, I encourage you to mark on your calendars the 9th Annual Payson Book Festival, Saturday, July 13th, and I know I'm looking forward to it, and it is great to be able to get to know all of the authors, or some of the authors, not all of them, but some of the authors, so that way when I'm out at the book festival, you know, if they're not in the studio but just on the phone, get to meet them in person and learn even more about them. So again, thank you, Haley, and thank you, Katrina, for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me, Chris. I appreciate it. It's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely, Chris. I support all you're doing for the community. It's just a fabulous thing.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone for listening and watching today. And again, it is supposed to be, wow, a little bit warmer for us up here, 101. I mean, that's, and you're just, I know Haley's like, yeah,
Hey, it still
whatever.
saves you 10 degrees.
Yeah, 101, come on, that's nothing, you know, because down in the valley, I imagine it's supposed to be a lot hotter.
Yeah, I think it's like 115, 116.
Oh boy, no, I'll take the 101 up here and deal with it. But yeah, it's still beautiful out there, so if you are out, just make sure, you know, just stay in the shade, don't stay out for too long, and drink plenty of water. But time to get back to the music with James Taylor, Starship, Eric Clapton, and more. But first, let's get a quick update from the National Weather Service. Right there. There you go. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much again, Katrina.
Absolutely. You have a fabulous day.
All right. You as well. Have a great week, and we'll see you. Wow.
Next weekend.
Next weekend. Oh my goodness, that's right.
Less than a weekend.
Less than,
5 days.
it's 5 days. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the year is just flying.
We're Christmas in July already.
Yeah. All right. Well.